then if she's not going to be here,
December,
January.
She'd still be here.
Well, we've only got 2 weeks of January left. So it led, because of what was said, it was very clear that that contract was going to be extended. So the questions still stand there. So are you prepared to sort of, if you're going to talk about it tonight, I'd just like to know why, what benefit have we seen so far from that position? Why is it being extended? And for how long are you proposing it is extended? Because that's really important, because those, and the reason I'm asking, and I've got no problem at all with this council employing the admin staff it has, because it's really crucial. I think it's leading to a better and more informative council. You're able to do the work in a more structured way. But those sort of issues concern people, especially if the higher precept is going towards those salaries. Because we've got the community engagement officer, I'm wondering whether, because that's not temporary, is it? It was only the development manager. So that those, if you might want to answer those in a moment. And then I think it's just going back to the neighbourhood plan officer. I'd like to know how many people offered support before you had the neighbourhood plan meeting, people who were interested in the neighbourhood plan and offered you help. So that could have avoided having to recruit a neighbourhood plan officer at a high salary, and how many of the people who actually engaged in the meeting that you held offered their support to actually have the professional expertise to engage and help that plan forward.
Okay, I mean, let's take the neighbourhood plan one. Patty's probably got the numbers of the people that volunteered.
I've got the numbers here that volunteered. I just want to know how many.
But not all of them have carried on. There are the group is smaller
Okay.
now, isn't it?
I mean, we have published, the family tree's been published of the leaders of the groups and the names on it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's
Only-
public or not?
No,
Not public, I don't
not,
think.
not
Well, I'm
who's
asking,
in,
that's why I'm asking the
not
question.
who's in the working groups. But when I say people volunteered, they might only be able to provide a couple of hours a week, or read the odd document. They're just people who volunteered to give their help in their spare time. What we're looking for is somebody who can actually put the whole thing together.
So my first question was, did anybody offer you that support? No one at all?
Not full time.
No.
Basically, this is the most important.
Might not have to be full time. It could be.
Oh, it would be.
It could be like the development officer.
No.
But
This is
that's-
the most.
that's
Sorry,
part-time.
this is the most important thing that people asked for in the consultation that we did. It's a really difficult job to do. We really got to get the right expertise if we're going to get this right, because it's the future of Portishead for the next 20, 30 years. So, it's absolutely essential that we get the right skills to really pull this together. We've got a great set of volunteers, but at the end of the day, they're all volunteers, and they can put a few hours in, a few hours there. It'd be great, their job is really to get the community views together, get the ideas into the melting pot, but we really need an expert to help us put it together, so when we get to the planning inspector stage that it goes through, doesn't get rejected, we don't end up in multiple iterations.
Because it's still not worth asking the town, because I can remember before you were elected, many of you stood in the hall under the old administration saying this town has got the expertise, and if you don't ask the town for the expertise, then you may have done it through the neighbourhood plan, but obviously not very many people came through that gave you that impression that they could help you. And you're saying that nobody came forward before to help the council on the neighbourhood plan. So I do feel that you should offer it to the town.
Well, lots of people came to help, but we haven't asked anyone whether they want to work full time for 12 months.
Well, you may not have asked anybody, but there could have been people with that professional expertise who you didn't ask, but they may be willing to help. I'm only saying, as a Portishead resident, it would be nice to see you as a council engaging fully by saying, is there somebody out? No, not dissimilar to one of the councillors saying, is there somebody out there with the expertise that could put a water fountain in? I know the neighbourhood plan, and I think it's personally too little too late, but there are people out there
can't be held responsible for it being too late.
I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying there could be people out there that wouldn't actually ask for a high salary in order to do that job. We've had consultants coming out our ears in Portishead over the last 20, 30 years. I'm not holding you responsible for that either. What I wouldn't like to see is more consultancy fees going and not seeing the outcome from it. But anyway, that's that. You've answered the question that there was nobody that came forward and nobody that you asked. but I think you could ask the question again. But going back to the development manager, are you able to answer those questions, please?
Not really, I think, not prior to making the decision. I think it's difficult to do it prior to making the
It's
decision.
because it's a confidential.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I'm not asking you for salaries, I'm not asking you for names. I'm asking you for the role so far. Obviously, you're not going to tell me why it's been extended and for how long, but surely you can tell the public here tonight, and there's not very many of us, what benefit we've got from the council in that position so far. Have we actually got any grants in? Because you obviously only offered it for 4 months for a reason. You thought the job could be done in 4 months.
Well,
I-
I think it's felt that the precept consultation obviously took up a lot of work and effort, as you saw, and that there's so much more for her to do, and time's run away, and she's getting towards the end of her contract, and there is just so much more for her to do.
Yeah, basically, we've got numerous projects to
Yeah.
manage. As you know, we've got £152,000 in the Portishead Economic Development Fund, so we've got to have someone championing economic development in Portishead. So,
Okay, thank you.
So that person can, you know, with that money, they can either make no difference or they can make £300,000 difference. So multiple times of their salary if you've got the right person.
But so far there hasn't been a difference.